You know,
Mm.
oftentimes I think reporters are the first tellers of history, and you've got to have a front row seat for the what's going on in the world right now, where people are saying, hey, these people that we used to have and we put up statues of, or we used to celebrate them and give them a day, now we don't want to do that anymore. From the eyes of a reporter, how do you see this?
I, I see it. It's a travesty, Vance. It's an outrage, and to think that someone would tear down a statue simply, maybe you just simply disagree with their stance in history on a variety of topics, is truly cowardice at its highest level. Because you know, man, so well that the people we would build statues of today, after 100 years goes by, you just tear them down as well. When you tear down a statue, you're really tearing down yourself, and you do so out of ignorance. When you see people tear down Lincoln or Jefferson or Roosevelt or Stonewall Jackson, uh, Robert E. Lee, it's there's simply no excuse for it. And if you'll simply delve into their lives, right, whether it's Lincoln or Lee or Stonewall Jackson, you find out that there's extreme levels of nuance. They're just like you and me. They were swept along by all sorts of things in society, and in particular, this country, right? This country, where we have this much opportunity and wonderful history. This is not a matter of tearing down a statue of Lavrenti Beria or Joseph Stalin, or Lenin. We're not in Slovakia. We're not in Romania. Communism just didn't fall in the 1990s, and we're trying to drag down statues of people. No, these are the statues coming down now in the United States, or that have been over the last few months. These are the markers of our lives, and I, I feel sorry in a way for the people that do those kind of things, because they are taking taking a hammer to their own ankles, and they don't even realize it.
I have a buddy named Jeremy Lakosh. He's been a guest on this podcast, and he started a YouTube channel called History in Context. And when he first started doing it, I was like, I think it'd be nice to have a history channel, but I don't really know what you mean. And he was like, no, I'm going to take the primary sources of these people that we think we know and these events that we think we've heard before. I'm just going to read you what they've said. And so he did this with Christopher Columbus. And I was 3 minutes into that video, and I realized I only had a Walt Disney version of Christopher Columbus. He hopped on. Somebody gave him some money. He hopped in some boats, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. He came over here. He did some stuff, and then he left. I had no idea. He's turned this into a 7-part series, 30 minutes each about. And you find out how he was engaging with the native people, how they traded with them, how they learned, how they got chased around the islands. It's an amazing story. And so to your point about tearing down these statues, if you get all the way done with reading several books about this character, and then you decide, hey, I'm going to get another mob of people that also spent several months or years reading about this person, and then we decide to tear down that statue, fine. But if you have only a Disneyland understanding of who these people are, all you're doing is the whims of somebody else's desires. You're letting emotion sweep you up. Even if you're correct that this person did terrible things, you don't actually know that. You're just following what the mob told you to do.
You're absolutely right. Who was it? I'm going to say it was Edmund Burke Vance that said, these people, I'm paraphrasing here, these people can't handle freedom. They fashion their own fetters, essentially what he said. They create their own chains. And when you succumb to mob rule and you allow the mob to hold sway, right, you are on the road to hell. Now, if you look back just to 1789, in that era, with the French Revolution and you see what happened with the Jacobins and the whole rest of those
Man, I don't have any
thugs.
idea you're talking about Jacobins. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the French Revolution and the way that the mob ate its own. What you always see, and it's proven again and again, Vance, is that history turns on itself. The mob turns on itself. The mob eats its own. It's just a matter of time. So, in other words, if you and I participate as a mob today, right, we are signing our own death warrant, because it's just a matter of time before the crowd turns on us. You've often seen the crazy psychology of canines, of dogs. You'll have a pack of 10 dogs, and they'll be on another dog, or they'll be on another animal, on a coon, what have you. And suddenly, in an instant, right, something happens, something's triggered in there, and the pack of dogs turns on one of their own, so the weaker of the lot. Same thing happens in society and history. And that's why, whether you're on the right or the left or wherever, beware the mob, I guess.
Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you like this interview, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you always get notified about this podcast. And if you're really interested in conversations like this, you may want to consider joining the Articulate Ventures Network. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.